to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, and Disembodied Hands, Quindy, Disembodied Beard John, and maybe a Kuruniko, but I don't see a lot of chat right now, so I can't tell. Maybe we'll have a Kuruniko. Maybe the Kuruniko will be earful, but I'm not certain. We'll find out. Suspense builds. Yeah, goopy guy. Oh, Kuruniko-less. Oh. There. Sadness. Alrighty, let's get out our stuff. Actually, I kept my stuff out because I'm smart. Sometimes. So I need to grab my 6 and my orchid. I thought I was just going to drop the brutal out of that. So that means I can throw my brutal purple back over here. Maybe it goes in there. I don't remember where any of my purples go at this point. Everything is just a blur. There we go. Yeah. Was it the soup? The sus soup? That's what inquiring minds want to know. All right, let's get our brown liner mixed up, and we'll get our various other colors mixed up. Boop. Oh, dearie me. CrossFit was evil last night. It was essentially a workout. It was like the gym owner was punishing us for doing the Chad workout on Sunday, because everything was about calves and it was all brutal. Apparently the gym owner does not like the Chad workout and thinks it is boring and monotonous, and he doesn't do it in his gym, and that's why we did it at Andrew and Allie's instead. But it sure felt like punishment. Oh no! I'm sad about that. The internet has been the last couple days, I've actually been a little surprised because it's been very windy. I've been a little surprised we've had as good luck as we have, so hopefully it's not on my end. Let's look. What do we got? Huh. I'm not seeing anything on my end, Quindy. My little alarm bell doesn't give me... There's nothing. Okay. Good deal. I'm glad it's not on my end, because like I said, it's been a little sus here over the last few days because of the wind. We're going to mix our purple. It's going to be Sticks Purple and Orchid. We were using Brutal Purple, but I decided that I could mix more or less the same color by using fewer colors. So since I was already using Orchid for the tongue and the ears and stuff, I decided instead of Brutal, I would switch to Orchid, which is going to give us a little bit more of a saturated shadow. Okay, good. Morning, Slayer. So 3 drops of Sticks. Adding Orchid is also going to impact... Let me get my color card to make sure I'm getting everybody right here. 4 and 2, all right. It's also going to make this a little more transparent, which isn't a bad thing because we're using it for shading, so we're already thinning it and we want to put it down in a rather transparent layer. Oh my god, Quindy. I was just thinking about that this morning when I went on my walk. I was like, I wonder if Quindy's going to get her notice before me, because it seems like you always do. Well, now I have to check. Dang. No, I don't have anything in my Yahoo. Dang. Well, let's hope they get to me then. I'll be the last. I'll be the Kuruniko in this Kickstarter. They're punishing Reaper for making Kuro the absolute last Bones 6 shipped pledge. By giving me the last shipped pledge for the Chimera. I really want it. It needs to hit me before Christmas because it's like part of David's Christmas present. Hey, Marage, good morning. Book launch day, 2 days. 2 days. Remember, guys, I won't be on tomorrow. But I will be on for book launch day, i.e. Friday. But yeah, remember I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, so I am out. I'll be suffering and starving. And getting blood pulled out of me. Being poked and prodded. Yeah, I got pretty much the full Velvets line for me. I actually cut my pledge back a bit and decided not to get any figures, even though I was tempted. So otherwise I was going pretty high, but I got a lot of paint, plus I got 2 sets separately for David, because we like to have our own paint, you know. God forbid we share our paint. I think I would go crazy. His desk is as bad as Ron's when he's at his peak. I had a performance review this morning. You're getting a raise. Yes! Yes! Appreciated Quindy. Oh no, yeah. The cosmic entities are like, too many good things are happening. Quick, make the stream totally dive. I'm gonna get my salamander orange. Yes, grats, Quindy. Grats on the raise. You are worth it. Oh, yeah, I'm not seeing any alerts on my end at all. Just so FYI for you guys. Yeah, Quindy totally deserves a raise. And I want a bit of, we've got our Blazing Forge. And I want a puddle of white, and I also want some separate Orchid Purple because I want to maybe put some reddish tones on some of his knuckles, like maybe the top one. I want to highlight these knuckles and get them a little reddish because that's we typically see some red tones on hands. Nope. It's not you, Marach. But yeah, no Anne tomorrow. Anne suffering at doctor's. But I'll be so happy to get that over with. You're in the same boat with Chimera, waiting. Well, Quindy got her notification, so unless she sucked up all the good karma, that means at least they're still shipping stuff. Okay, so we've got our full gamut of colors here. We've got every well in the front. We have quite the rainbow, right? We have quite the rainbow for this guy. That's part of what makes him look cool, though. It's a secondary rainbow, for the most part. Secondary, purple, green, orange. But that orange shifts very much toward yellow as we add white to it, and we've got the purple. And so purple and yellow, also complementary colors, right? Pardon me. Shut it and stop it. Nope. Bye. Be quiet. I'm going to put her fan on, guys. 1 sec. Be quiet. Settle down. Hey, Kodiak. Yeah, out comes a mom voice, you bet. Settle down or you get shut in, Keeks. Or shut out, one or the other. Neither of which you enjoy. Alright, a drop of water in everything. 1. So that's at least... That's between a 4-to-1 and a 6-to-1 on all of these colors. depending. The purple is more of a 6-1. Morning, Polly. Ah. All right. I don't know if that may have gone to spam. Can I search still? Nope, I have nothing. Just search for Dracoya. All mailboxes. Nope, nothing yet. Thanks for the tip, though, Quindy. I'll be on the lookout. Kiki, enough, or you're done. Shut it. Sit. Good. You be good. Mama doesn't want to hear it. No, she doesn't want to hear it. She wants you to settle down and be good. It's work time. It's work time. Yeah, settle. Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, thanks for the... Yeah, good. That's good to know who it's coming from. It's good to know what the verbiage is. I can keep looking. Because, yeah, unfortunately, my Kickstarter email is my Yahoo one, which I'm phasing out. And I guess that means I might have to... I don't know if I can change the email on my Kickstarter account or if I'll need to make a new one. I'm going to mix all these up. Morning, Polly. Yes, I'm just going to keep telling everybody. Remember, no stream tomorrow. John will stream. John said he would stream instead. So you should show up and hang out with John. John needs your love. Salamander's going to go pretty transparent with that water, but since we're using it for a glaze, it's not a big deal. Yeah, see, there's John waving at you. Come and see John. Yes. Oh yeah, Kara's Book of Secrets. I have a copy of that somewhere. But I'm not sure where I stuffed that one. I have my Burgundy wine one more close to hand. Alrighty. We are set. There's all our beautiful colors that we're working with today. I'll be happy when this week is like at its completion. Actually, happy once we're into Friday and I've got everything done that I have to have done and everything launched that I have to have launched. All right, let's go and use the finer brush today. Let's grab our 00 Winsor Newton. That's been performing pretty well for me lately. Yeah, I really like this color scheme. I think it's really neat. It's a lot different than stuff we do elsewise, than we normally do. All right, so I'm going to be working on these little punchy hands here. Since my oranges are a little transparent, I'm probably going to undercoat with white a little bit. And I might need to pop a little bit more white into that. Yeah, I'm taking the white up to a 6-1. So I'm going to pop. Yeah, that's perfect. You really want to see the underpainting. I just want to bring it up a little bit. There's still a little bit of light here on the side of these knuckles, just not as much. Here. You can see where I'm putting the light in there. That's white. Yeah, I don't know. I could tell the quality was not as good with one of those. I think it was the old Reaper camera, and that one was definitely not great. The camera before this one was actually a webcam. It was a pretty high. I'm gonna glaze the orange over this to get kind of a mixture of orange and green here on the side of the hand. But yeah, it was a good Logitech webcam. The only problem was that, of course, you gotta have separate software to like kind of fix the focus and do all that stuff, and I really hated it. I feel like this is an improvement. But yeah, as far as like surprisingly good quality for what it was, yeah. Ah, okay. I only ever have had this one Apiva though. This is the same camera, so unless we're losing quality. But yeah, I had this one, I bought it like right around the time of the pandemic, maybe a little bit before. Before I moved for sure, I had it. I got it after Justin and I were using the one. So I'm putting a little bit of pink in here from the orchid purple. I have a Kiki hair in my orchid purple because Kiki hair is everywhere right now. Kiki hair is attempting to be an integral part of our universe at this moment. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd never had another. I haven't owned a document cam other than this one. I'm still on my first. What I was using before this was Logitech. To the best of my memory, which, is dicey sometimes. So yeah, then I'm going to kind of bring in, that's a little bit too much, so I'm going to bring in some orange to kind of blend that. And make his knuckles look a little bit raw and bring in that pink in other areas. Yeah, I don't remember, but anyway. Yeah, I definitely noticed a couple clips that were not as high quality of a camera on that intro. And I think I know how to set up the intro too. I just need to actually have time for it. I feel like it's not going to get done until after book launch at this point. I am very much prioritizing book launch over everything else right now, except for Patreon. Patreon is going to get done today. I almost got my PDF done yesterday, but there was just a lot of writing to fill it out, and I almost forgot to put Earth and Red in there, so I had to do a last minute addition. So yeah, you can see the pink coming in. I'm not making it super like hit you in the face with that pink. I just want to give us, it's just kind of like I used it a bit down here. We got that purple kind of color, and it's the same kind of transition here. We just want a hint of it just to make the eye, make everything harmonize really. Yeah. Yeah, when there's very little contrast, document cams are not at their best. Yeah, that's what I use now, though. This is the VZX right now. But my setup had changed as far as, like, where my lighting was and everything else, too, so that can influence it. Hello, Ultra Squid. Alright, so we've got that pink tone in there. I really like it. It's good. I want to kind of refine this arm. I want to get some lining around the dagger and between the fingers. Got a bit of a purple blorf down there, too. We'll figure it out. But yeah, this is still the VZX. It's still the turquoise one I bought originally. Nothing has changed. So if we have noticed a downsliding quality, it's some setting that's not the webcam or the dock cam. So getting that lining in there, you can see that really brings out and makes the fingers. Yeah, he's focused like it down here, but I think it focused on the paper. 1 second. There we go. Now we're happier. Now we can punch you. Ha ha. Okay, he just wanted to be an action figure there for just a second. I promise it won't happen again. Yeah, there have definitely been times where I've forgotten to fix focus, or I've fixed focus like while the mini is lying on here, and like you just noticed, it actually wasn't the mini that the camera had focused on. It focused on the paper because it's dumb that way sometimes. All right, so we've got our lining around to bring out that fist. Now I can bring in more highlights and shadows. And my bones look pretty good. I want a little bit more purple down here around the dagger. And I'm gonna actually want more of this purple underneath the arm here. So I'm probably gonna need to thin it a bit because right now it's definitely a little bit thick for that treatment. So I'm going to take my 6 purple there. I'm going to drop a couple of drops of water in it. Sticks and orchid combo until it really looks, it's a lot thinner. That'll help me to glaze it. Yeah, I've talked about getting a new dock cam, but I just hadn't. They're so expensive now, I need to budget for it. Now I'm going to start working the purple up into these greens. I've got a bit of purple coming in under here already. But it's a little thicker and there's texture. It's just not a big deal. This guy's skin is probably pretty rough. There's a lot of purple underneath there, so. We're Luca-less. Oh no. Sadness. I hope he's feeling okay. Dang, well. You guys don't get any me tomorrow. There's no Luca today. No Kuronico. The world is a sad place. I've mixed a little bit of my Blazing Forge into my green here to create this color. Oh yeah, real life stuff. We got it. So I'm bringing in more of that purple there on that line. Keeping my green more strong though. Oh, I just want to bring in a bit more of the green up here. I want to highlight and shade, so I've got a little bit more. But this is the top of the arm, so I don't want any really dramatic shadows up here. And it may be good enough. I'm just kind of looking at it, trying to figure it out. Maybe a little bit more. I can always glaze. And I want to bring in some green here to kind of mitigate this purple. And some orange too. You can create a more complex result if you layer colors over each other. Get this in here, the veining here. I'm going to use the light to bring that up. I want to get some green in here to create this shadow. Oh, hey, C-Not, how's it going? We're working on a really cool model today, Ghoul King. He's super awesome, and I love his color scheme. And just as you come in, my allergies attacked me. 1 second. Ugh. It'd be that way. It'd be the season, right? But yeah, welcome guys. So we're using a really funky color scheme to paint our Ghoul King. Kind of channeling the Games Workshop Nurgle vibe a little bit. But I wanted to use kind of a secondary color scheme, so it's purple, green, and orange, primarily. And then I've got this other purple, which is very red, to use like for the tongue and stuff. So yeah, so those are our colors, and then most of this is MSP 2.0. The oranges and the green. The 2.0 Kickstarter is going to launch this spring. And the purples are MSP 1.0 still. Although both of these colors will be going into 2.0. Alright, back to work. And we've just been working on the hand here, getting it a little bit more defined, the musculature, making sure that I'm highlighting adequately for everything. I really want the shadows to work on this model, so I've been painting in the darker purple shadows under areas with a drop shadow. That's partially why we're getting this very dramatic feel to the masses and everything, is that I am shading that way. I also have to still tackle a lot of this. This is more like what I want. But I want to actually lighten a little bit of that too. So yeah, so we're working, pretty much refining right now. Then we'll go back to blocking, probably back here. I got to get all this area kind of brought in and work on it. But yeah, even though this guy is technically the Ghoul King, you could paint him as a troll, you could paint him as an ogre, corrupted ogre, you could do almost anything with him. Goblin King works, if you're going for more of the Hobbit view of the Goblin King. So I'm layering my greens, working my oranges over the top of them. Kind of blend it in. And then I'm going to be using a lot of white to bring up this. Yeah, for sure. Well, Dead Moon, there's also new colors in the in 2.0. So yeah, you can replace now some colors. A lot of colors are not porting over to 2.0 because there's a lot of line creep right now, and part of this is to cull the line down to a sustainable level again. So a lot of colors are going to get canceled. I've done a video on the whys and everything about that on my YouTube, youtube.com/@paintingbig. It's my own thing. Reaper will also have resources once the Kickstarter launches, a lot of videos kind of explaining the why we're doing this and how we're doing this, and so on. But yeah, if you have some favorite colors, you may want to pick up a bottle. If you're on my Patreon, I've been kind of doing some reveals, and here on the stream as well, I've been doing some reveals about what's going to make it and what's not. Yes, the David Boy Goblin King is superior. But yeah, Dead Moon, for sure, like, you'll be able to replace a lot of your colors, like, with the 2.0 versions. And we are upping the pigment count on all paint, pretty much across the board. Unless it was already super hyper pigmented and can't take any more. There's just a few of those paints that are out there. So yeah, so there's a little bit of better coverage and better pigmentation, more intense color in a lot of cases. 2.0 is still MSP. It'll still work with your existing MSPs. We're not changing like the gut parameters of the paint, but we're increasing pigment to get better color and coverage. Yes. Oh, okay. That's good, Dead Moon. Yes, yes. Love the voice of lesser responsibility. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of cool colors coming with it. I think 25 new colors, something like that. It'll be like a 200-ish color line. Ron has sworn that this line will be inviolable. There will be no cancellations. He wants a line that can stay itself and not get parts ripped out of it like the old line got every once in a while when Ed wanted to do cancellations on it. So Ron doesn't want to do cancellations on this new line. Any additional colors coming in to MSP 2.0 will be just special edition, holiday, limited, box set, things like that. Like there may be fast palettes for it. We'll see. Fast palettes. I don't know how fast palettes did for Reaper when they did them with 1.0, so there's really no word except that we're keeping the main line the main line. Just bringing in a little bit more green here to see if I can punch a little bit of contrast. Since this hand is held kind of a slant of the light source. But I do think that may have taken it a little too far, so that's okay. I can take my orange and glaze it over that. And then take my... Oh, that's actually pretty good. No. The old line is getting gone because the vast majority of 2.0 is still the bulk of the old line, right? So 2.0 is replacing 1.0. A lot of colors will be canceled because Reaper's problem right now is that the line is too big for stores to carry, and it's also taking up too much space in Reaper's warehouse. So it's just not sustainable the way it's crept. We have line creep really bad, and it needs to be truncated. So it will be cut down to the 200-ish colors, and that includes bones and everything. Pathfinder stays the way it is. So if you like Pathfinder paint, Pathfinder color stays the same because that's on contract with Paizo, so those colors will stay until Paizo or Reaper decides they don't want the line anymore, and then it will dissolve. That's the issue with lines that are under contract with another company, is that it stays until the whims of fate dictate that it doesn't stay. Yes, there will also be new labels. Finally, we will have full color Reaper labels. Shiny. So shiny. This is a prototype. There also will be a coverage meter on each label that'll show you whether it's translucent or kind of in the middle of the road or high coverage. As you can see from that, there's actually also a translucent label, part of the label saying translucent or transparent for paints that truly are. Yeah, for sure. And the clear colors, which are our single pigment colors and really good for mixing, will turn into elemental colors. So clear yellow becomes elemental yellow, etc., etc. And there will be more coming. With clear orange will finally come back as elemental orange. So a lot of some of the colors that are going into 2.0 are not just the ones that currently exist in the main line. There's also limited and out of print, previously out of print colors that are being brought back for 2.0. So it is really a completely new thing. And some colors you couldn't previously get will be available all the time now. So yeah, overall I think it's an improvement. Yeah, they are. Yep, it's black. Sorry, Marach, it's black. But I'm sure you can... I think we sell the white caps? But, I mean, it depends on the color, right? The dark colors will be harder to see, but anything lighter is going to be just fine. Nope. It does not have a time limit, Pendrake. It's just like with every licensed line, it exists until it doesn't. Okay, we'll still sell the white caps for people that want to switch, Reaper says. John says. Yeah, you could always put a white blob on first, or you could just get some white caps, or you could just take your white caps off of your existing paint once you run out of a bottle and just clean them out and switch them over to a new bottle. Slowly swap over. It's up to you how you want to work it. But Reaper decided they liked the look of the black better. Alrighty. I think I've got another pustule over here that I didn't paint yet, so let's grab some orchid purple and get that pustule. Alrighty, good. Looking pretty snaz. I want to get the underside of this a little bit. I don't want to just leave it. It's very blocked in, very sketchy on the bottom. So I'm going to grab some of my green. I'm just trying to get a little bit of highlighting down there. Quindy. Yeah, I've always thought the black caps looked better, just straight up looked better. And I think the white caps were fine with the old white label, but when you start getting the black cap, or the dark label, I think the black cap looks better with it. Purely aesthetic, but we all know that people judge a bottle by its color. It's marketing. Making it all look good, making it all look pleasing is all marketing. Get more of that purple shadow underneath this arm. There used to be, seriously. It used to be black cap for bones and special edition, and white cap for core. But then I think we ran out of black caps at one point and couldn't get them for a while, and so then we ended up switching things, and everything got very confused. So now, I believe Reaper's just trying to do it. Yeah, I mean, we did the print on, you know, our own like little printed label for a long time, and for a while it was fine. But if we want to be competitive, we had to upgrade the look. And it makes sense to do it for the new iteration of the line, right? If you're going to change it for this. I am going to start blocking in some of this under here. Also got to start refining this area in here, so all of this is all just blocked in from before. Doing a bit of wet blending here. Hey, Roger. But yeah, everything got confused with the caps at that point, and then it just became a whatever. At this point, I don't think there's a rhyme or reason. If you notice a random black cap. No, yeah, way too costly. I'm pretty sure that Golden has a machine that does it Ultra Squid. They're also a much larger company as far as art supply. Yeah, no, if you want to do it, you can do it. I mean, that's why I'm doing, and even the shiny label, it works just fine to put it over the shiny label. It goes over. But yeah, if you want a coverage thing, that's why we're putting the coverage meter on the label, right? Is like, if you want to know if a paint is high coverage or mid or low, then you're going to have that little arrow that you can look at on the label that's going to tell you. Most paints will be mid. Many of the clears, you know, the elemental colors are going to be transparent, and there are also a few more colors that are going to stay transparent, like the orchid purple and moth green. And the reason for that is that there's no way to increase coverage on those colors without totally changing the color. Yeah, that's the Bones label, I think. Or HD. HD was yellow. Sorry, HD was yellow. Bones was not. HD was yellow with black cap. Bones was white with black cap, and then the core line was white and white. So just doing a bit of lining here to define that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like that's what I mean. If I want to have it on the label, then I'm just going to put it on there. Now, one thing that should be done, and I don't know, but John, you might want to take a note, is that the coverage should be put on the website as well. Like, whatever the coverage meter says, if you can't, you might not be able to see that. I don't know if you're going to put it on the graphic. I guess you could just put it on the graphic of the swatch, put the coverage meter on there in a corner, so people would know. But I think that info definitely needs to be on there, on the website, on the page for that paint. Bring some red and purple in there. Right, exactly. Yeah, orchid and moth are useful the way they are because of their transparency. I mean, I was just using it to glaze a shadow on there. So that's exactly why. Like, you can't really improve it. If you increase the pigments used in those colors are transparent. And so it's not going to help you with coverage. And you really can't use an HD color in there for those colors either, because it would overpower the color and change it all again. So since we don't have the HD switch we can throw, and we don't have a high coverage pigment we can throw, we can't add white or it'll change the color completely. Essentially adding white turns moth green into dungeon slime. So you gotta just work with it. It's what it is. Those colors are what they are. You either like them and you understand how to use them, or you don't like them and you just don't use them. And either way, it's just fine with us. It's all personal preference. There's always going to be colors that some people love and some people don't. Alright, so I'm trying to work with the area right here next to the stomach. Struggling a little bit just because it's hard to get past this arm. Kind of coming in here to see what I can see. So I need to create some shadows in here. Dark purple shadow along the bottom to give it weight. I need to also blend underneath the chest here. I'm going to try to keep it where you guys can see it as much as I can, but that arm is really getting in the way. So I'm putting purple on the bottom here of the pec, and purple on the bottom of the flab down here. And you can see that adds weight. That hard shadow gives the illusion of mass. I say this a lot, but I'm going to repeat it again and again because, like, it's important. That's why, if you want to have a dramatic painting style like Luca's, you darken your shadows, not just for high contrast, but to give that hard illusion of mass and weight to a thing, which is more real life. When we don't do that, a model looks more ethereal, looks more not real. That's why I don't use super dark shadows on ghosts and things. It's why we always say take your shadows darker on 28mm, because they don't actually cast realistic shadows of their own. So that means you have to do it. You have to paint it in. If you don't, then your model doesn't look really real. That's actually fraught pen rake. You'll never want to do that. The reason is that when you photograph a swatch, I mean, it's okay for my PDFs and stuff, but it's still like fraught. Because the camera is going to change the color ever so slightly based on the camera technology you're using. And trying to correct it by putting it on your computer screen is just going to make things worse because everybody's computer screen is a little different, including yours. So you might correct it and think it looks perfect, but then, 60% of the customer base might have a different computer screen that makes it actually look different. You just don't photo swatches. It's just, you just put up the swatch. You try to tune the swatch so that's as close as it can be in relative to other colors, and you go with it. Also, the lighting on the swatch is also going to change the color of the swatch, along with the camera. So that's the big reason. That's another big reason. Like, when you just put up a swatch that you've made on the computer, it's not affected by the lighting in the area you took the picture in, because obviously you aren't taking a picture. So, yeah. We don't do that. If you want to swatch over a barcode, just swatch over a barcode. It's the easiest way. Like, the barcode is already white and black, so it's going to show you how see-through the paint is. It's going to give you that effect to give you that ability. The coverage meter gives you a rough idea going in. But yeah, no, taking pictures of swatches is just not optimal. Because if you're using fluorescent light, your swatch goes a little green. If you're using, if you're getting affected by any outdoor light, it can go blue. If you're using halogens, it goes yellow, I think. I don't remember. But yeah, anyway, because, photography is just when you're trying to take photographs of colors in particular, it could just be not optimal. That's why people don't do it. That's why companies don't do it. If it worked, companies would do it. Yes, exactly. Buy them all, then you don't have to hunt for colors online. Tungsten would be yellow. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I couldn't remember. Doing little layering strokes to kind of blend these areas in here. But yeah, essentially it just is the color of the light will always, even in here where I'm using daylight bulbs, and I have a window, but the window is gonna give me gray light today because it's overcast. And even this is not optimal. It's close. It's close enough for me to do PDFs, but I wouldn't make it I wouldn't use it to market stuff. I'm gonna thin down my green a bit. But yeah, that's one of the great challenges of painting when you paint in 2D, when you're doing canvas and watercolor and stuff, is that you have to understand that the color of the light is going to affect the surface color, the local color of the thing, right? It's going to make it look different. And then that even doesn't even go into how your brain tries to adapt to different light colors in different situations. So your brain may fill in the blanks if it's in an extremely, if it's got a definite color to the light shift. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting stuff. But what it comes down to is that the swatch is the least affected. The swatch is the least affected by anything else. And of course the online swatches also aren't perfect, but you just can't get perfect here. Perfect doesn't exist. Alright, gonna grab these little guys. Try to get these muscles blended in here on the side of the stomach. Kind of working on these little guys. Trying to get those more to stand out more. There we go on the side there. So these little guys here, I brought in my green. Now I'm going to bring in a little bit more of my green here. If you want the muscles and the details to really stand out, they need to have a moderately dark shadow on them, but that's just moderate compared to the rest of the skin. Get some more purple in here. Get out from under this arm soon so that we can see more, but I'm blocking in the purple in here. Yeah. I mean, I use these LED lights from Taotronics, T-A-O-Tronics. I find them on Amazon. They're an L-shaped light with a bar, and then the light bar at the top is like 2 or 3 rows of LEDs. Or I guess it's like little bars of LEDs now. They change to model to model, but I liked using 2 of these. I like the bars because they like go over your surface, but you also can have them kind of angled. Right now, though, at this, I've just got my big LED ring light and then this light on the other side to balance things out. Really, lighting, you want more light rather than less. It'll help you avoid eye strain. LEDs can get nice and bright now, so you don't have to worry about like what light bulbs. Like I would go daylight. And usually, I think this is a reading light. My light has different color capabilities, so I can make it go yellow, blue, red, or reddish rather, or I can have it be daylight, which is the reading setting on this, and that's more neutral. And I like to have lights on either side if I can, so that I reduce shadows, so that you can see all the areas of the model. Yeah. I used to just use 2 big desk lamps with 100 watt bulbs in them, daylight bulbs, and I would just put them like right here, one on one side of my head and the other, oops, sorry, there, arms, like this, so that it would give light kind of coming in on a diagonal from both sides, and 100 watt bulbs were pretty bright, but then I could see everything, and I never got eye strain from painting, ever. So yeah, really you just want enough light. I see a lot of painters paint in relatively dim light. It makes me grind my teeth. My husband is like that. Like, he has a couple of different lamps, but they just don't seem like all that bright. So at least he's got even light, because he has lamps coming from a couple different directions, but... I'll bring in a little bit of this Blazing Forge to highlight these little areas here, these little muscles, little wrinkles. Still not happy with that. Wish that arm wasn't there so that I could see it a little better. But it is what it is. So I think I'm just going to bring in my green a little bit more. Bring it up a little bit more. So I can get that a little bit more transition. Then this guy. But yeah, bottom line with lighting is just you need more of it. But if you have 2 lamps, the one's on either side of you, and they're decently bright lamps. And I would definitely, some people really like OT lights, but I find them too blue. So experiment a bit with your color, color of light. If you've got a setup that, I think you've got that bruise color, that's too much of a shadow right in here. There's a blob. See that blob of purple? We need to take that lighter. But experiment a bit because lights do have different colors, and they can affect the painting. Like, I used to use reveal bulbs, which were like daylight slightly blue, highly, so they were supposed to really pop detail. But what they also did was overemphasize like red. Like, it would make my reds look so bright, but then I would take the model away from the light, and then the reds would not be bright enough. So it can vary. Sorry guys, I'll get you back in here in a bit. There. So now I've got that bruise has been covered up, more or less, that bruised area. I'm gonna make a new puddle of Burning Forge plus white, just to make an even lighter off-white orange. Hey, Crowley. Okay, let's see if I put too much water in that. And that color is, just so you can see it, so off-white orange. So this one, Blazing Forge, looks really light until you like actually realize you can make a whole nother color in between these two. But yeah, mostly I'd never get aggro on people over their lighting setups. Is mostly I want you to be using a lighting setup so that you don't hurt your eyes, so you can see the details and not get eye strain. A lot of people are like, oh, I need magnification, but if they honestly just added more light to their environment, they would find that they don't need as much magnification as they think. And I notice this all the time because people are taking photos of the models in the same environment that they're painting them in, and it's so dim. It's just like so dim, and it's only got like one directional light. Like, even if you have dimmer lights, having two of them, one on either side of you, is going to help. Yeah, my blending today is not giving me good feelings. I'm gonna have to do some glazes. I'm gonna have to do some glazes, folks. Some days it'd be like that. I think I'm gonna glaze over this entire area with green. I'm gonna add a highlight first though. So if you know you're gonna do a glaze, you can pump up your highlights beforehand because you know that the glaze is gonna pull everything down. In this case, I'm gonna use a green glaze. My green is fairly dark, so it means if I pop up the highlights on all these areas beforehand, when I do the glaze, it should, I won't need to highlight up as much or at all. So just putting some blocky, whiter highlights there. It's actually the combo white and orange though. And if I want to really intensify this, I'll actually do a coat of this salamander orange first with a glaze, just to warm it up. Salamander thinned down looks very yellow. It's a very fine line. There's a very fine line between oranges and yellows, so I just did that glaze of yellow. You can see how that's intensified everything in there. Now I want to do a really thin glaze of the green to make my blending happier. Grab a bunch of this, pop it north, throw some water in it. Colored water. Kiki, enough! Kiki, enough! Shut it and settle down. Yeah? Come here. Come here. Come here. Stop it. Stop it. Settle. I don't care. Yeah. Go settle down. Work, work. Hello, kitchen. Yeah, good, Marich, yeah. Lighting is like, people don't think about it, but it honestly can make things so much easier. Alright, so let's do this green glaze then to even out some of this in here. I may need to add some purples to shade still, but that's alright. So I'm going to just grab a little bit of this, and I want to spread it pretty thin. And we're just going to glaze it. Let's just glaze all of this. Glaze, 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 glaze. I'll pull it real thin over this surface, make sure it's not pooling. If I see any pools, I'm just going to pull them back over the surface. And that is going to make me a little happier. There we go. Alrighty. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, kitchen. My week is almost done, and this is a stressful week, so once it's done, it'll be happier. There. I was getting a little bit too, I didn't have enough contrast, so now I feel like I have enough contrast, and I like the intensity of that area. And I still have more purple that I can bring up underneath here. But yeah, I'm continually shocked at how dim some people's work areas are. Like, you can't expect to be able to paint the fine details on a model if you can't see them. Because I'm using a secondary color scheme on this model, so we are using purples, green, and oranges to paint this model. So I like putting color in my shadows for this, so I'm using the purple for that. It's a sneaky way to repeat the purple around the model, so if I've got parts of the model that have the reddish purple in it, it lets me kind of throw a little bit in down here, so then the eye sees all the purple color and travels around the mini. Same with the knuckles here. I really like using purples in shadows, especially on green. I think purples are great shaders for green, especially an olive green like this. It gives me such a beautiful, beautiful color when I bring it in here. If I was going very natural on this model, I would use a really dark brown to build my shadows. But because he's definitely not natural, not naturalistic, I'm going for a much more kind of grotesque and punchy effect. So the purple fits for me. But yeah, I like my purple to be a little, so we get a little stronger, a little darker down here, and then get that real heavy look. mix up my purple and Blazing Forge color, or sorry, my green and Blazing Forge color to make that transition a little bit smoother down there. Like, not necessarily, like on this model, right? So, okay, let's say this model is red. Let's say I painted his skin color red. That would be more likely, I'd be more likely then to go with a blue for like the tongue. I probably wouldn't do it on the knuckles. A lot of putting red tones on the knuckles is kind of a callback to humans. It's where we tend to have reddish tones on our hands often. Our knuckles are a little bit more pinker. So I might not do that with a blue because it's not going to evoke the same feel of kind of like humanity or related to human. But I would use blue for shadows. So this is not necessarily shadows. This is actually adding in color to mimic the blood flow in a human. Same with the ears. But I would, if I had used red skin and a blue tongue, yes, I'd be very likely to use a dark blue for shadows. But it's not just like whatever the tongue and knuckles are. Like it depends on your reason, you know, the reason behind why you're doing that. And it doesn't always like even go in line with that. It just depends on the colors I'm using. It's very much a color theory thing, Kitchen. It's a more advanced color theory concept, using saturated shadows, using colors in your shadow. The other reason you put colors in your shadows is the color of your light. Is often if you have a very yellow light, which I'm kind of going for with this, a very golden light, your shadows are going to have a bit of the complementary color of that in them. So if your light is yellowish, then your shadows are going to be purplish. And it also matters what your main color is. So in portraiture, in portrait painting, the shadow color is often mixed by using the complementary color of the light, like I just said, but also the complementary color of the actual surface. So that means the yellowy color here, the yellowy orange here, is definitely going to want like a purplish, even a purplish blue color underneath if I was doing, say, a portrait type of thing. And then the green might have some red in it. But also the green would have purple in it because of the yellowish light. So that's a very complicated kind of concept. But once you get used to thinking in those terms, you can paint that way. Here I'm going much simpler. I've just chosen to use purple in my shadows for everything. And then my lining is still brown liner, so I'm still going with because I'm also lining between surfaces, I'm going with brown liner, which is a very black brown. It's a little bit translucent. It makes a great natural shadow. Lining is just very efficient shadows. So like lining between the knuckles there, and the lining around the parts that will be bone here is all in the brown. It's a choice. It's not necessarily a rule, it's a choice, I guess is the best way to put that. I could have used blue for these shadows, because dark blue also makes a pretty good shadow for olive green. I could have used brown. I could have used a reddish color and mixed it with the green to make kind of a brownish grayish color to use as my shadow. There's lots of choices. And it's just the effect that you're looking for and the colors you're looking for. For me, I really wanted to paint with a strong purple, orange, green color scheme. So that's why I made those choices. Yep. Sure. Color theory is kind of my thing. I have a few videos on it on my YouTube, which is, of course, free. It's youtube.com/the @ and then Painting Big is my name on the YouTubes. It's got the dragon logo. If you see a dragon logo and Painting Big, you've got the right place. And there's Quindy. She just linked it for you. My YouTube is kind of in the middle there. But yeah, I've got a whole series on color theory on there. And I still have a little bit more to go. going to start doing a little bit more on deconstructing color theory too on there. My YouTube is kind of on hiatus a little bit right now because I have a lot going on, but after the holidays we'll get back to it. I'll be putting up a video on the YouTube to that effect, guys, just so you'll see it probably. We'll probably shoot that Friday and put it up. Also lets me kind of talk about my books on the YouTube, because I haven't really done that, but it's because of the book release mostly that things have gotten a little bit less posting on the YouTube lately. Alright, so I might want a little bit of purple in the shadow here. This is like closer to the light and also not as deep of a shadow as this, but if I want to really give weight to these folds of flesh, then yes, I will put, yeah, no problem, kitchen. I kind of like the link spam here in the chat because it lets people not have that extra click. The link trees are nice, but it does require an extra click. Takes up less of the chat, but our chat is not really, doesn't seem to really care that much about it. And Quindy likes spamming people. Yes, Dead Moon. It's the newest book in my series. Fourth book. I'm gonna have 4 books out, guys. This is crazy to me. I remember like 3 years ago when I was struggling to even finish book 1, and I could not imagine having this number of books out. Like I couldn't see how I could possibly have that, because it was just so difficult. It was so hard. But yeah, I'm proud of myself. Proud of myself for sticking to it, and I feel like book 5 might be a little easier to tackle. So I'm putting a little purple in there. I'm gonna see how it looks. Thanks, Luce. Oh, good, Tristoma. Yeah. Behold your spam powers. Yes, indeed, Quindy. Yeah, the book, the proof of the book is in. Alright, let me go get it. I'll just go get it. I'll show off my new child, even though it's just the author copy. Hold on. Alrighty. This is YA Fantasy. My 4th book is about the foxes in my world, so there are foxes. And the book is called 3 Favors. And there's my author name. And the series is The Bear Kings. So there we go, and there it is. There's all my edits. I go through the book with sticky notes, and it grows a forest of sticky note edits. But yeah, so it's a big one. It's a 125,000 word book. It's a fat one. Yeah, it's cool. I'm very happy. I'm very excited. This is the first time, now that I have 4 books out, I'm actually spending some money on ads and stuff to promote my launch. So I'm kind of apprehensive. It's also been a lot of work, which is why I've been stressed out. And I still have to finish setting up some of the ads so that they launch at the right time on the right day. My blending is just not on point today, guys. I don't know what it is. It's even humid here today. But I feel like I'm just like, some days going to be like that. There we go. Some days you're gonna like just be blending and it's gonna feel effortless and you're gonna be like, yeah, I rock. And then the next day or, several days later, you're just gonna be like, what is happening? And sometimes it's just that your paint consistency is a bit off, but you're like just frustrated and you try to push it anyway and it doesn't work. And then you get really frustrated and then you quit for the day. It happens. It happens to the best of us, happens to me. Yeah, well, some of the edits are just like little things like that I notice, like a repeated word or a repetitive phrase, and I just tweak it a bit, Rach. Some of it is outright errors, like words transposed or what have you. Quotation marks missing, something like that. Friday morning, yes. Very cool, Dead Moon. I hope you enjoy it. It is, I class it as YA. I wrote it for myself, and obviously I'm no longer a spring chicken, but I like fantasy adventure books with good characters and magic and an awesome world that don't have, all the heavy stuff that tends to be in like regular epic fantasy, adult epic fantasy. I don't like putting like a lot of violence and torture and stuff like that in my books. And darker stuff seems to be how epic fantasy is going these days, and so my books are classed as YA, but most of my readers are adults, so not all, but most. My marketing guy was like, "Are you sure you want to put that age designation on there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, actually I am." He's like, well, it might stop some adults from picking it up. And I'm like, yeah, but the people who like to read YA, like, they're actually going to be reassured by that, seeing the age range. We'll see. But yes, my official release for the new book is Friday. Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific. So that's 11 a.m. Eastern. And in Texas, that will be 10 a.m. Not yet, Kitchen. Audiobooks are really expensive to produce. And so, in general, for newer authors like me, like I've only been publishing a couple of years, for newer authors, it's really recommended to wait until you have like enough sales to really make it worthwhile. An audiobook can cost upwards of $3,000 to $4,000 to do. And with a series, it's double bad because you're locked in. If you do one audiobook, you have to do all the books, right? So that very rapidly becomes super expensive. And I won't use AI. I won't use AI to narrate. I just don't think it's not nearly as good. It's very bad. And I think it would mutilate the fantasy names in my book. So I have actually recently, I can tell you guys this actually, I was recently chatting with a voice actor who contacted me because she reads my books. She reads my books and she's like, I do this part-time. I really like your books. If you want to talk about this, we can talk about it and see if we can come to some sort of arrangement. So that's interesting. And, so now I'm thinking about it a bit. A. Becker, yeah. I thought about it, Vampire. I did a lot of, here, hold on. Let me get the book out again. Yes, I am an author. My pen name is, ta-da, and the new book is Three Favors. And it is part of the Bear Kings. The first book is East of the Sun. These are YA fantasy based on folklore. The first two books are more Norwegian folklore, but really it's folklore from around the world. So the world is based on folklore. It has a very strong folklore fairy tale vibe to it, but it's not romance heavy. So essentially, I've thought about reporting my own audio. I even did a lot of research into it. I used to have a really good voice when I was singing a lot, but I would need to put a lot of effort into my voice and into training my voice to do a good job on a book. I listen to audiobooks a lot, and you can tell a good voice actor. They just have a great resonance and range, and you can really tell when it's somebody who's pro and who's trained their voice. And so I've gone a little bit back away from thinking about narrating my own audiobooks. It would cost less in money. It would probably, I'd have to pick up about $500 to $800 worth of gear to do it well, but it would take a ton of time because like per recorded hour, like it's going to take me hours and hours to record the book. And if I'm not confident that I can do it like well, I'm someone who really believes in quality and in a quality listening experience for the people who want to buy my book on audiobook. And so for me, it's really important to do it right, to have it be a good product. And I'm just not confident that right now, with the way my voice is and with my time constraints, that I could do it justice. Because let's face it, I'm doing YouTube. I live on my Patreon, so my Patreon is a top priority every month, and I've got a lot of pieces of content I have to put out for that every month. Plus, I'm writing novels. Plus, I have a house and a husband and a dog. And I work out, and I'm running. I'm doing all this stuff. So you add all that together, and you come down with how many hours does Anne have extra in the week to really do an audiobook? 0. -5, maybe. So that's why I haven't really looked, like, why I've kind of backed off of doing it myself. Now, there is royalty share, which is an option, which is, then the audiobook person, like, just does the audiobook, and then they get paid half of royalties. But again, I feel like it's easy for the audiobook recorder, for the narrator, to get screwed there. Because if your book isn't selling enough, they don't get paid, right? They don't get paid enough. And so that's why I'm like, I kind of want to wait until my books start selling a little better than they are now, because I would take this person up on it. I would do it. They're willing to do royalty share. She is. But I want her. I don't want her to get screwed, right? I being a freelance artist myself, I don't want a voice actor, especially if it's one voice actor that I choose, that person I'm going to want it to do all my books, right? So I need to stay on good terms with them. That kind of thing. So yeah, so it's a whole thing. It's a real debate. But in general, I guess my writing coach calls this, she talks about author business phases a lot. And what that generally means is that there's a point in your author career where it makes sense to do audiobooks, and there's a point where it doesn't. There's a pustule in here, and I'm going to get it. If you're wondering how I'm doing these little pustules, it's just I'm putting a kind of a rim around it with the orchid, kind of a red inflammation, and then I'm grabbing a little bit of my Blazing Forge and mixing it with white to get kind of that off yellow zit on top. But yeah, so there's just so much. There's so much to doing audiobooks. And I know it's a big market right now. I know it's a growing market. I would love to do it. But I have to be realistic about where I am right now as an author. And right now my author business is like, the books are selling, but they're not selling enough that I would feel comfortable doing a deal with a voice actor yet. That's why I'm putting a lot into this launch. I'm putting a lot of like ad money and my time and everything else into this book launch to see how far I can push the signal, to see if we can get some more readers, to see if I can get to a point where it makes sense, right? Every launch is an opportunity to reach new readers, and you just have to kind of stick at it. Writing is never, just like with painting, writing is never an overnight success. If it looks like an overnight success, just look behind, and I'm sure that author has other successes, or lots of other books they've done, right? Just like the mini painter has tons of failed projects before you see the one that everybody is talking about. But yeah, it's work. It's just a lot of continuous work and effort. Happily, having already done that with mini painting, I knew what I was in for when I went into writing. Yeah, I thought I might record it as well. I used to read books to my little brother all the time when we were younger. And like I said, I used to have a very good voice. But man, the effort that it would take me to get back to it, and then the hours and hours and hours of recording. Like I said, my time is so tight during the day for me to get everything done, and still to have a little bit of time free in the evening for me to just relax. So yeah, if I didn't think it would be fun, I wouldn't have looked into the equipment and made notes on what I would need to do it. But at the same time, I've had to have a come to Jesus with myself recently just about all the things that I'm trying to do, right? Next year I want to run a half marathon. That's going to take hours and hours of training per week to get myself up to the mileage for that on my running, and I have CrossFit twice a week. I run 3 times a week, plus all the work that I do, plus trying to keep the house from devolving into complete chaos. Plus we're going to have relatives over for the holidays, and that's going to completely destroy my system. I'm somebody who needs a lot of stability and no disruptions in order to be really productive. A lot of people are more adaptable than me, and I envy them. How hard it is to do voice work. Yeah, for sure, Marange. Yeah, it's a lot. Need to write it first, yeah. Yep. Yeah, my running time, I listen to audiobooks and podcasts a lot of my running. Writing a book is honestly just a step-by-step. You have to start, and then you just have to keep going. It's one foot in front of the other, one word in front of the other, or behind the other. It's just a slog. Writing a book is a marathon. And then discovering your process, what makes, how you can write best, right? Not even just how you can write best as far as being a good writer, but what kind of life setup do you need to write at your best, right? When do you write? How much do you write? What do you need in your environment to be a productive writer? That's also a learning process. But the best way to know is to start. You will never know unless you just start. And remember, just like with mini painting, where you can always paint over, you can always rewrite. You can always edit and rewrite a scene. If you end up really hating it, it's never set in stone, and you don't have to show anyone until you want to. So, if you want to write a book, get on it, man. Don't be like me and wait until you're 49 and go, damn it, I need to finish this book by the time I'm 50. It would have been better if I had done that, in my 30s and finished it by the time I was 40. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, if you love to do that stuff, Vampire, and you've got a good voice for it, you could narrate your own book for sure. But yeah, it is definitely, there's pros and cons to it, to doing your own. I mean, biggest pro is it costs a lot less, and then you don't have to worry about who's going to do all of them. But then also remember, if you do one of them, your listeners are going to get used to your voice, and that means you have to do all of them if you've got a series. And these days, series writing is really, if you're going to make money as a writer, you've got to write a series if you're in genre fiction. All right, I'm going to do a time call. I think we'll just close it there. Again, I won't be on tomorrow, guys, but I'll be back on Friday. And Friday is book launch day, so we'll see how the book does. Oh, every year since I was in Nano, every year from 2005 on, I think. And I was doing it this month, too, though Nano itself is kind of defunct, but I was doing the Pro Writing Aid version for a new book in a new series. But then I had to kind of stop that and get ready for my launch, so I got some words. Yeah, it was really nice talking to you guys, too. I'm here every weekday, usually, Vampire. We do a different model every day. So, Friday, we'll be working on Little Beer Frau Lady. And we have, a 6 model rotation. So, and then one of those days is also a basing day, where I do basing. So, next week, we're going to be working on Noel, who I finished, but I made him a little rocky base that we're going to be putting him on and dressing that up a bit. So yes, we do a basing day and 5 other models. We've got a lot of models going on. So yeah, come on back around if you're free this time of day. Yeah. Thanks, Dead Moon. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad to meet you too. Yeah. Oh, I work during the week. I see. Cool. I do a stream on Saturdays, Dead Moon, on my own channel, twitch.tv/paintingbig. And that's at around 3 p.m. USA Central Time. So it's a little late for Europe. But I don't know where you are. But if you're around on Saturdays and you're hanging out in the afternoon, a lot of people will get their painting. They'll paint along with me. They'll just sit and paint, and we'll all just kind of stream. So yeah, Saturday afternoon I also stream. Or sorry, that's right. It's 3 p.m. USA Central Time. So yeah, if you can't catch me during the week, but you have a question about painting or something like that, you can always catch me on the weekend on Saturday. I'm pretty sure I'll be on this Saturday. Thanksgiving Saturday, I think I'm not going to be on for my stream. So anyway. Okay, usually just lurk. That's cool. Thanks for supporting me. I appreciate it. Hey, I need the eyeballs. And we all need the eyeballs. I really appreciate it. Doesn't matter if you talk or not. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Thank you, Quindy, for modding, and John also. And I will be back on Friday, all right? Fingers crossed for a good book launch. Fingers crossed for a good physical tomorrow at my doctor's office. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.